My guest is Masako Matsushita, a choreographer and performer of the piece Undress Moving Painting. And the title itself indicates that it would have a strong relationship to visual art, and it has for me. So even the first picture is very strong. So maybe we can start with the inspiration for this piece for you. Where it lies.
Yeah, thank you, Miroslava. It is indeed a piece that relates with visual art. It's and aesthetic, and together with the use of material, so objects, and in this case we have fabric as the main character. The body itself, like my body, it sometimes carries the material. It transforms the atmosphere together with the material. So when I am doing it, and when I was conceiving the piece, I was relating to the material as if, so to the fabric, as if it was and it is another body.
Mm-hmm. Clear.
And I also wanted to create and work around the concept of transformation and the time it takes in order for situations and objects, and also relating to nature, the time it takes one form to transform.
Mm-hmm.
So one form to transform, yeah. And at the same time, the concept of layers, so layering, and then the weight it has when you do it, and the limitation probably it gives in order to still move. And at the same time, consumerism, because I did this piece and I decided to start, and this is my first solo. So I ended up in my room thinking about all these concepts, and I stopped and I looked in my wardrobe and I saw that I had so many lingerie, underwears and bras that as a woman I do have, and I recognize that is something we need to, and we have to wear for several reasons. And I thought, how can I still use them and bring another point of view? So how can I create out of something that I have in excess something else? So how to give this item another usage?
Uh-huh. You know, for me, I was also reading this underwear, comparing to using these long materials as a day-to-day daily ceremony and daily ceremony. And for me, the big material is like a real ceremony, which is more, you know, like a fest or event. So it's like a contrast between daily routine and contrast between something which is exceptional. That was also for me, except of this, we are really over, I don't know, we are over consuming all the materials which are around us, and it doesn't have any value anymore. So it's really very, and in spite of the fact that the piece, you don't move very much in the piece, it really creates very nice tension, these two materials or two types of materials you are using. It's really, for me, a very clear message, and I like it. Yeah. And
Thank you.
what about the long material? This has something to do with the Japanese tradition as well, because it reminds me of a special kimono you are putting then on you.
I think that the fact that I'm half Italian, half Japanese, it's inevitably a constant question that I bring with me. I live in a constant state of questioning tradition, questioning traces, and what is identity in and out culture, no? And I don't make it happen because I think, okay, this is Japanese, so I do it. But I realize that it comes through, and I've always been around with material that are Japanese fabric in my house, or talking and seeing ceremonies like the tea ceremony, or the dressing up and undressing, the many layers that a kimono actually has, because we see the outside, but the inside has many layers and a weight also. And the obi, which is actually this long stripe that it becomes a wonderful ribbon. And so this transformation, I think, is always fascinated me, and it comes through also there. Yeah.
And then the body in the space, which is in one moment is naked body in the space. What this nudity means for you? It's really like very, for me, it's very kind of obvious, like there is a body in the space, that's it, something like a statue, more or less. So what it is for you there? Why the nudity? Because, you know.
Yeah, it's a good question. Also, I don't usually work with nudity myself. It's not one state that I put myself every time in every production, every work I do. I thought that there it's also obvious that I become, and I think it's a question that is always constant in the viewer. And I do that because I am also carrying fabric, like the skin is a fabric. It's a costume. It's how we relate. It's the first layer of how we relate from the inside to the outside. So for me, is also a way that I, the butterfly makes the bacello in Italian.
I know. And then it flies from, I don't know the English word.
And it flies from there. So the way I put away, or like the snake that changes the skin. So it's like reborn to come out with a shape that it's still part of who we are. And I'm a woman, and I want to stand and also be humbly there, but for a fraction of a second, because then it becomes again another transformation. And the way I come up with a new transformation, I'm repeating, sorry, but it's like that's the moment of being born again.
And does the cloth or plays any role in this transformation for you?
Totally. Yeah, totally. I think in the everyday life, that's a transformation that we probably do because we are we're used to do it. And I question how much do we think about what we do every day in this dressing and undressing, and in the many atmospheres we do it, because we can do it in an intimate moment, or because we need to show something, or because we just like to do it, or because we need to state a political mood as well, or we just do it, or regardless of what the intention is. It's like the question is, how much do we pay attention to this?
And in general, how it's a question of nowadays, like how much people are paying attention to what they do in their daily life, because I think it's really very kind of erased from their attention. Many activities and many stuff what they do, they just do it automatically. Clear.
And I think also the time of the piece is in very much contrast with our daily life.
Yeah, yeah. It is a kind of, let's say, um, fest of the slowness in a way. Yeah, I really like it. Great. Is there anything else you would like add to the piece before I ask any, the questions from different field? What, something what would, for the audience, will give a kind of insight, maybe, whatever.
Yeah,
we didn't talk about the music, actually. I forgot to ask.
Okay. Should I say something about the music?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I want to add something that is related to music. And I was introducing before about nature, no? That nature changes, and it changes that we don't even realize because of a different timing. So the bordone at the beginning, which is this very deep sound with low bass, it wants to create an atmosphere where we bring our weight towards the earth. And also the basses are, as we well know, travel into space and in the lower part. So it vibrates and it gets through the body, and it creates like a common ground, horizontal. And in the second part, the second type of sound that comes in, again wants to recall the work of the animals in nature. We hear sounds of birds and a horse that is biting, no?
Yeah.
And the horse is a symbol of strength and freedom at the same time. Yeah.
Great. So, and my question I used to ask our guests, because contemporary dance, in spite of the fact that it's not, it's quite long on the scene in Slovakia, but anyhow, sometimes we always are getting questions like what this contemporary dance is. So what it is for you? How you would encourage public to go and see contemporary dance show? Do you have any special invitation?
I would invite the audience to bring their bodies and not their minds to experience dance, and also, when it's possible, to try to do a workshop when possible, because this helps to connect, I believe. And even if now I'm talking to the viewer, even if you feel that you are a bit stupid or uncomfortable, that's okay. Every time we learn something new, we feel that way. And I think if we think that there's also, every time that we see dance, a concept behind, it's very good to find first what concept is for you, for yourself, and then maybe relate to what the concept of the piece is. But it's like when we see a painting, for example, we try to experience. When we see a sculpture, and we also know that this sculpture has a meaning in the history. And I think what contemporary dance is today, it represents also part of a history that we are living now, and that we lived when also contemporary dance became part of our routine or not routine. That's also possible. Yeah, I think questioning, but not too much.
Okay, good. And one other question, we still hope that our festival will take place, and last months were really difficult for all artists because the art was the first thing which was forbidden to somehow present with the presence of public. So how were those months for you? How did you use them and how it was for you?
During the lockdown or after the lockdown?
During the lockdown, yeah.
During the lockdown, I did many things. I reflected on what it is that I am researching, what it is that I'm doing and not doing. And I had a conversation with Roberto Casarotto at some point, quite soon at the beginning of the lockdown. And it was very inspiring because he asked me, what's your creative process at the moment? And I was, in the days before this question, I was already thinking what could be a creative process to share in those, on that period of time. And that would not be necessarily digital. And so during the lockdown, I worked on the Diary of a Move, which was, and it is a project that finally became participatory. And I had a lot to do with this process, asking the participants to select one movement per day for a minimum of 14 days up to 30 days. And it was incredible to see the different participations coming from different backgrounds and ages, and I was just asking them to think what movement means for each one of them, and then to start from there. So
great.
It was great. And at the same time, critically hard for other reasons. I think we all had hard moments and questions on where is it going and how it's going to change everything after.
Yeah.
And now we are living this after, probably, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, beginning of after. I think it's only beginning. Yeah. So I hope that, you will be able to come to Bratislava. We will see your piece live, because art lives when it's live and when there is this interaction between artists and the public, and in one space which they share. So thank you very much for this talk, and looking forward to see you in Bratislava.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Ciao.